6 years, no ring, and he's more concerned about other people's lives than ours. 6 years on July 20th, my boyfriend, 24 male, and I, 23 female, will be celebrating our dating anniversary. I love him so much. He's my best friend in the entire world, and we've really grown together since we started dating at 18. As excited as I am to celebrate 6 years with him, I can't help but also dread it because it's another year of him not proposing. We've had a lot of people ask, oh my God, almost 6 years. Why aren't you guys engaged yet? And also some people say, you guys are so young, just enjoy your lives. And honestly, within the relationship, we are both split. He went from asking me to marry him every day when we were 18 to saying we need to be more stable once we both entered the corporate workforce. We've discussed marriage, kids, and all of that, and have agreed those are things that we both want. Of course, I understand him, and it is the responsible thing to do to have out finances and such and be more stable. However, it seems he's starting to prioritize other things over marriage. Like he's expressed his aspiration to move into the city, and then another day wanting a new car, and then the next wanting to travel together, and all these new aspirations and wants are starting to hurt my head because it seems like he doesn't know what he wants. We've had so many discussions about our future and what we want to create together and what we wish for ourselves, but he always seems so sure about what he wants for himself and not for us. His older sister got engaged last year, and of course we were both so happy and excited for her. However, I later found myself getting angry and upset, not towards her, but my boyfriend. He seemed so excited for her and her fiance and their future, and started talking about our future as if it was a distant future. Like when people would tease us saying, oh, you guys are next, he would just chuckle and stay quiet, or say, oh, we've got a long way. What was worse was that he'd asked for my opinion about his sister's wedding, almost rubbing it in my face, asking me if I'd have a destination wedding, planned the same way as her, etc. Meanwhile, he's saying these contradicting things. In addition to this, I've brought up to him recently that I'd like to be engaged soon, and he said he would not propose unless we lived together for at least a year. I expressed to him that I personally would not want to live together unless we're engaged, but he said that this is one non-negotiable. I asked if he was willing to compromise, i.e. us to be engaged and start looking for a place after, but he said no, just simply no. I asked if there was any other way or if he had any ideas of how we could compromise, and he just shrugged. I'm in no rush to be married or engaged, but I wanted to ask him his thoughts to further understand where he is at and where he thinks we are progressing. What is concerning to me, however, is that I asked him, quote, okay, so if I don't live with you for another 3 years, then you want to propose? And he said, yes. Again, no compromise, further insinuating that he would make me wait until he gets his way. This made me really angry. Now I'm at the stage of denial, but also acceptance, realizing that he won't do it unless I give him what he wants, and I truly don't know what to do. I couldn't even continue the conversation with him. Because how could I after he just shut me down? He seems to be so excited for our friends and family around us getting engaged and having kids, but doesn't seem to be excited for us to do those things. I want to get engaged and married because I love him and I want to start our future together, not because I'm trying to relate to people around me. However, I find that he always compares our relationship to other people, i.e., my sister and her boyfriend traveled all over Europe. Why can't we? Whoa, my friend and his girlfriend just got a place together. We should do that. He's expressing what he wants passively, and when I actually try to talk to him about it, he seems closed off. I grew up in a fairly traditional household, and while I don't carry all of the values my parents raised me with, one of the few things is waiting to be engaged, to be married, or engaged to be married to move in together, and he's known this for some time, even before we started actively having these conversations. Recently, he started doing this thing that's actually made me crazy. He'll hold my hand and start measuring my ring finger as if cutely trying to gauge my ring size, and honestly, it feels like a punch in the gut. Like, who does that after saying they don't plan to propose anytime soon? At this point, I truly don't know what to do anymore and feel lost and almost nervous for our 6-year celebration coming up. I don't know how to change his mind because the last thing I want to do is beg him to propose. I feel stuck. Ugh. I hate it. Sorry. I'm just going to be so blunt and honest about this because whatever, this is how I feel and this is how I've grown to feel. I hate it when people make their whole lives revolve around getting engaged and getting married, because you should enjoy where you're at. First of all, I do have to say, you are 23 years old and your boyfriend is 24. You have been together since you were 18. There's a lot of stuff. Yes, of course he doesn't know what he wants. He is a 24-year-old. He does not know what he wants yet, and that is okay. I don't even know what I want yet. Like, in life, I'm still figuring out what I want in life. Of course, I know that I want to be with my boyfriend, but I'm in no rush to get engaged. Of course, I do want to get engaged to him, and I would love to get married to him, but I'm in no rush, and like, in no way is that what I'm revolving my life around. I feel like I understand having the goal, and obviously everyone's different and every woman is different, but like, I feel like people put so much pressure and so much weight on getting engaged and getting married, and especially at such a young age. Like, yes, people are right. You should just enjoy being together for right now and wait until you guys are both ready, and like, don't feel the need, even if just because you guys have been together for 6 years, it doesn't like mean that you guys should just be getting engaged. Like, there's no timeline, especially because you guys were 18 when you guys got together. So like 6 years really isn't that long. Like, 6 years is obviously it's a long time to be together. But like, since you guys are so young, I don't know. I don't know how to word this. But like, you guys are so young. So 6 years isn't the same as being together from like 25 to 31. To me, in my opinion. I think if you were together from 25 to 31, it's a different scenario. When you're 18, like, you're so young. I mean, you guys, I don't know. It just stresses me out. It's like, you don't have to wait to start your life together. Also, it seems like you guys are wanting different things. Like, it's okay for him to want to be, like, to want to travel. It's totally okay. I also want to travel, and I think that it's a smart idea to travel when you're younger, before you get married and engaged and before you have kids, because then you don't have to worry about, like, figuring extra things out. Like, traveling is already hard as it is. So it's like, I totally agree with him as well. Like, I would also want to live with someone before getting married. I think that or before getting engaged. I think that it's so important to live with someone before you get engaged. Because what if you guys live together and you end up hating each other? Even though, like, obviously an engagement, you can still break up an engagement. Like, an engagement isn't like, the only difference is that it's a ring, but you can always return that ring. Like, you're not married. You didn't sign legal papers and stuff. So, but I just feel like, honestly, I feel like people need to start reversing the way that they think. Like, I get that she's traditional, and I understand, because I grew up also in like a very traditional sense and taught traditional values. So I understand like having those values, although I don't relate to those values anymore. But I am so glad I lived with my boyfriend. We've lived together for like 2.5 years now. And I'm so glad that we have lived together, because we figured out how to navigate things. And I feel like if we had gotten engaged and then moved in together, I feel like it would be a whole different pressure, because it would be like any disagreement that we had would feel so much heavier if we were engaged and living together and trying to navigate living together after being engaged than like it was with us just dating. Does that make sense? I don't know. But we navigated, like, the first year was really us figuring out how we live and like trying to, just figure out all those things and navigate things with living together. And now we found like a very great way of living. We are both very happy together. We both are like very content in the way that we do things. We've kind of like figured out, we've gotten in the groove of living together, and like we love it. And I'm so happy, because now I know that, like, yes, I could live with this person forever. It's such a different thing though, like living with someone and like just dating someone and staying and sleeping over at each other's houses is so different than actually living with someone, especially because finances, cleaning, the way that you live, the way that you do things, like so many things you have to figure out when living together. So glad. Like, because it makes me so much more confident in knowing that I want to be with my boyfriend, because check, 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 like all the boxes are checked. Like, love him as a person, love living with him. We're best friends. We never argue. If we do, we talk about it. Like, we never like argue like that. Like, we have found very good ways to communicate to each other about things. Like, I'm usually a person that needs time before I talk about something. I feel like he knows that, and then we talk about it and we figure things out, and like we're just so comfortable with each other now. I highly, highly suggest living with your partner before and getting engaged, honestly, because it's just such a different ball game. Like, you might not even want to get engaged to the person after living with them for a year. You might change your mind completely. But there's an edit. It says, I'm seeing a lot of comments about our ages. And again, like I said above, I understand we are young and have been together since I was 17 and he was 18. I understand and hear that advice. However, I'm not asking for marriage and babies next year. I'm simply asking for further commitment and engagement. Personally, I think if you've been with someone for 6 years, you should know by now. Also, a lot of you are saying I'm not willing to compromise. I've been hearing him out for years. The issue is, I have compromised so much for him, and he has yet to do that for me. For 2 years, in the beginning of our relationship, he had no job. I paid for almost everything. I've also, for the last few years, have planned our dates, our trips, etc. I literally remind him when he has to go to a doctor's appointment. Fast forward now, being more financially stable, we've planned for trips and have traveled together. And when I ask him for some time to save, he keeps on insisting he wants to go somewhere and money can always be made later. When I try to understand him and see his perspective regarding living together, I expect that he do the same for me, but he doesn't. I always put in effort, and might I add, for the last 2 years, he hasn't bothered to do something special or plan something nice for my birthday, despite having all this money to get a new car and go on all these trips. He's changed a lot from the start in our relationship, especially when it comes to effort. He's a good guy. We've had so many great memories together, but I feel sometimes that I just mourn what we used to have. He's masking being responsible with what is convenient for him. It's about him and not about what I want, because if it was about what I want, he would understand my wants to save money for the future, to communicate more, etc. Marriage is not about having the big wedding or party. I told him he could literally propose with a ring pop and I would say yes. He's a great guy, but he's also disappointed me so much, and I don't think I can handle more disappointment. Okay, see, this is what I'm saying. I'm sorry, but girl, you're listing all of these things that you don't like about him and all of these things that you wish he would change. Why do you want to why do you want to get engaged? You should be the one not wanting to get engaged and wanting to work on the relationship before getting engaged. But it seems like you just want to get engaged to get engaged. And I feel like you're saying marriage isn't about the big wedding or party, blah, blah, blah. But like, you're still wanting to you're worried more about an engagement to a person than what the person is actually like and what the person is actually giving you in a relationship. If the person is not giving you, you're mourning what you used to have in the relationship. Sorry, I don't mean to be yelling right now, but like, I'm just a little stressed because this is what leads to like people ending up getting divorced. When you like stress on an engagement so hard, it's like, why are you worried more about an engagement? You're worried more about the engagement than the person that you're with actually giving you a good relationship. You don't even like the relationship that you're in, it seems. It seems you're complaining about all these things, which are very valid complaints, and I agree with you. But all these things you don't like about your relationship, but you still want to get engaged. You should not want to get engaged to this person if he's not putting in the effort that you want him to put in. This is going to be him probably forever unless you guys make a change and work it out. And why would you want to get engaged unless you know that he can make a change and work it out? I don't know. I'm stressed. Like, please. Like, please. Guys, it's going to be okay if you don't get engaged. I hate that society puts so much pressure on people to get engaged. Like, I hate it so much. And of course, people are going to disagree with me about this. I feel like there's probably going to be like a pretty split response in this, but I'm sorry. 6 years and no ring. That doesn't mean anything. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.